because he has worked this morning. But sometimes you work in the morning and almost forget that you did some hard work, when the day starts. And everybody is looking at you at 9 o'clock in the morning. You are coming home when people are going out. And they start to suspect whether you are doing some kind of mysterious work. And let me not call the men of the underworld so that they will not be jealous that I'm categorizing them in there. But this is At Facts. We like to start off with the round table as usual. Funny enough, yes, our table is round. Okay, this is round enough for us to discuss as much as we can. Joining us on the round table this very lovely evening, we have to be Mr. Jide Ojo. What else can I add to that name in itself? Check it up on Google. You'll find that in at least every year, I've always followed through at December every year that I've known him. He has crossed over 250 interviews across radio, TV, and articles, right? Every year. Yes, Mr. Jide Ojo, am I right? I keep up with the numbers. I can't remember right now that I need them.
Don't bother.
Because I know you crossed 250. You crossed 250 media appearances across papers, radio, and TV. One of the most sought after people in Nigeria when it comes to news, advising anybody who will listen properly. And it's always a privilege to have him join us on Nigeria Info. Welcome, sir. How's your day been?
My day has been good. Thank you for the invite.
Thank you, as always.
Good to have you here, sir.
My pleasure.
The news never really stops, as we already know, and we often agree that something is always breaking something. And by the way, we're streaming live on Facebook and on YouTube. That's at Nigeria Info Abuja, and on YouTube at Nigeria Info Abuja. So feel free to join in and leave your comments there. But before we take on the news of the day, I just wanted to ask, on behalf of the concerned people, the Kano has done their own, Niger has done their own protest. What do you make of it?
What do I make of it? I was on NTA yesterday night, and I was like, we have another NSAS brewing if care is not taken. And that's how Arab Spring started, way back in 2011, if you recall. Took protest by a vegetable seller, that was being harassed by the local police, to say, the guy just set himself ablaze and said, to hell with you. Why are you not allowed us to breathe, to earn a living? And that set off Arab Spring that ousted the then president of Tunisia, who has been there for 30 years, including Hosni Mubarak, who was also there for 30 years. I think about 3 countries.
Yeah, Tunisia, Egypt,
and Algeria.
Algeria, yes, also had it.
3 presidents.
Even Morocco joined eventually.
So, that's how it starts. Like small match can ignite a wildfire. And I think this is an early warning sign to the authorities. Don't joke with Nigerians. Nigerians are angry, they are hungry. Protest is happening in unlikely places. You will never have seen this kind of protest in the north in those days. It used to be Lagos, Southwest, that you have
the supposed elite cities.
In fact, if you recall, when there was protest against the Naira redesign, it was localized to the Southwest.
Yes.
The 14 people that died in that protest were from Lagos, Ogun, Oyo. That was what the press reported. The North were like aloof. Even the NSAS, as at that time, it was Southwest, Southern affairs. But now, it's the North. And this is not even about insecurity. They're not even talking insecurity. They're saying we cannot live. And Mr. President told us, let the poor breathe. The poor are no longer breathing. It's like a metaphor of George Floyd. I can't breathe. The economy is the police that is choking everybody. People can't pay their bills. This is not the right time to be sick. You know that, Femi. Don't ever fall sick.
Members of my household, be hearing this advice. Don't fall sick.
This is not the time for anybody to fall sick. You will hear where. I shared a skit on my page yesterday. It was a drama skit, but it resonates with a lot of people. The guy went to a grocery store and he said, give me, what was he said? What did he say he wanted to buy? And they said 10,000. It's something that ordinarily should be like 1,005. He said 10,000. He said, okay, give me a module of rice. The guy said 10,200. If you want to buy half the rica, 5,100. The guy said, give me that gala. He said 1,050 naira. He said, so, and it seems like joke. Did you know that a bag of cement is 6,500 now?
Yes.
Just one bag.
Yes.
One bag. And I haven't seen that thing that the price hasn't gone up, including vegetables, including grains, including virtually, in fact, life itself. As I said in my column, I wrote a column for This Day newspaper today, and I said Nigeria has become an endangered species, and I said that Nigeria has become an obesian. Thomas Hobbes, philosopher.
Thomas Hobbes.
Thomas Hobbes said, in the state of nature, in his book Leviathan, he said, in the state of nature, life is short, poor, solitary, nasty, and brutish. And that's the reflection of Nigeria today. Life is solitary, is poor, is brutish, is nasty. So you now, people are now feeling of deja vu. I mean, there's a popular saying that he that is down need no fear fall.
But okay, so when we think about the state of how the state of things are, we were talking about this somehow yesterday, Mr. Ajidojo, and Somi will bear witness to this because there's been a response from the All Progressive as regards opposition, Abi.
Yes, I was just going to say, we're having analysts come on and, people are calling in and saying, look, this is the state. I'm not finding it funny. I'm not finding it funny. And then, of course, it culminates into protests, which happened in Mina and Kanu, only for us to have the National Publicity Secretary of the APC come out to say that the protest that we have seen is not a reflection of the true feelings of the people, but are instigated by, as he called it, mercenary opposition. And this is from the National Publicity Secretary of the APC. So if the how would I call him that, the ruling party are looking at reactions by the people and trying to target alongside of opposition. Same thing happened when Bayo Onanuga came out to respond to Atiku Abubakar to say, what are you saying? This is not the reflection. Nigerians are happy with the policies of the people. How do you marry these two? If the party or the administration is insisting that this is not the position of the people, how then are we expecting any form of reaction to stem this tide of complaints and protests that we are seeing?
What do you expect?
We expected different.
Gobel, during Adolf Hitler's time,
Oh, yes, okay.
Gobel was his chief propagandist. So it's government propaganda now. And those people need to keep their job. They want to do something to keep their job. They can't come out openly to say, oh, things are difficult. Even Mr. President, in about his 4 speeches that he has made, they have acknowledged that things are tough for Nigerians in all of his speeches. And I've had cause to analyze each and every of his speeches, including the one on January 1st, 2024. And he will plead with you, please bear with me. Okay, if Bayo Onanuga and what is his name now? Felix Moka is saying that. Did you hear what Kwanwan said? Kwanwan is King Gwaso Ayinde Marshal. The video is like a protege of the president. It's like the president's musician. Since I don't know from when, but all through the period Asiwaju was governor of Lagos, the official musician of Asiwaju is King Gwaso Ayinde Marshal.
It's the best way for people who don't know Marshal and Tinubu's relationship is the wicked relationship with if they pay them.
As they pay them, if they sweet us.
So that's who he is to Tinubu.
Yes. His songs and
even he was on his campaign train.
Yes,
he was his official musical band. But you saw what he said last week in a video that is trending. Asiwaju do something. There is a very popular poet in Yoruba land, Ologundudu. He has also released his own video. So when the member of your household are telling you, people of the same race with you, They're telling you the honest truth. And this is not something that should be politicized. I admit the hardship, the economic downturn and the high cost of living is not peculiar to Nigeria. I've watched the interview of some journalists that went to AFCON, and they will tell you the cost of, hotel accommodation, food, transport in Cote d'Ivoire is far higher than what obtains in Nigeria.
Terrible. I have somebody there, and I know what we are going through right now.
You understand? But what is their minimum wage? Vis-a-vis Nigerians.
Yeah.
So it's not enough. I think one of these people we are discussing issued a statement that Nigeria has the lowest cost of living in Africa. I don't know from where they got that. Because to the best of my knowledge, you see, you don't compare apple and oranges. I've had opportunity of traveling across some countries, at least across 3 continents. And I know that in many countries where you have higher cost of living, the minimum wage is also like 3-4 times of what obtains in our own climate. I mean, what is the value of your salary in dollar? If you denominate it in dollar, what will it come to? You are working for like $50, which is what some people had. I belong to the development sector, We call ourselves the third sector, civil society organization. I've worked with an American-based organization. Some of our consultants, when they come from US, they earn like $1,000 per day, $500 per day. I'm talking of per day. So me will be earning equivalent of $50 per 30 days. And you want me to be happy. And you are telling me, if you go to US, a liter of PMS goes for equivalent of 4,000 naira, in dollars. Yes, you are right. In Germany, the same thing. But what's the minimum wage?
Talking about Germany, you just mentioned Germany. I mean, the German delegation was in Nigeria. They did have a side conversation with the Minister of Finance, Wale Edu. And that conversation, Mr. Wale Edu was almost sincere enough to say that they have reasons to be worried. Now, when a government uses the word worried, I'm worried because it means it's either we don't know what we're diagnosing as a problem, or it means that what is being diagnosed, it's somehow suicide, if I would say. And I'm also thinking, we just started off the 2024 budget. It's barely 5 weeks old. Because we started off in January.
Yeah, January 1.
January 1 till date, 5 weeks old. And whatever we are dealt with in 2023 appears to be child's play compared to now, where this supposed budget is the budget that was directly overseen by President Tinubu. Not that he inherited the budget, that anything else. I mean, it's not a half-year budget. It's not that he had to ask for supplementary budget. It's a budget he went into. But yet, traditionally, we saw him hold on to some of those positions that the leaders before him had done. From cost of governance not being retained, especially maybe the National Assembly side. They will tell you they can't do anything on the National Assembly side. To the cost of vehicles. And yes, it cut back some few things that became very popular.
There wasn't any cutback in the real sense of it.
No, that said, they became popular doesn't mean that they actually were reflecting.
Because the same week as he said he's reducing cost of his travel by 60%, he went to Owerri now for the inauguration of Opus Odima. People saw the number that still went like mammoth crowd. I'm not saying that there is no tokenism to reduce. I mean, let's be sincere. I would be the first to admit that it's not like President Tinubu hasn't done anything. It would be uncharitable to say he has not done anything. He has tried. But his best is not good enough.
This issue of best is what used to cause Wahala.
I'm even coming. I've not even landed. Let's take him from the first palliative announcement he made on July 31. Let's benchmark him against those commitments.
Okay.
I recall that I wrote one of my columns on that. He said he was going to cultivate 500,000 hectares of grains, wheat, rice, millet, and corn and maize. How far?
That's supposed to be national food security, something.
Yes, he released a statement about national food security, and everybody all his handlers were saying, by the time we implement this, we will have food sufficiency, we will not even have. But ask him, this is another planting season that is looking us in the face. How many? The only thing he reported on January 1 in his speech was that he flagged off 120,000 wheat plantation in Jigawa in November last year. What happened to the other grains? He talked about CNG buses, 3,000 CNG buses to be brought in between August and March 2024. By now, we should have seen first, second, or third batch of those. At least, if you are buying something of 3,000 and it's not plucked from the shelf, maybe it has to be customized. I don't even see why we couldn't have had those 3,000 by now. But let's say government bureaucracy and all of that. By now, we should have had some of those buses commuting, working to ease the transport problem of average citizen. If you have, assuming you have first 500 and you put 50 on Abuja Road, 50 in Mina, 50 across, you just spread, just like the palliative stuff. By now, people will have, at least for those who would rely on this kind of transportation, they will have been feeling the impact. Then let's look at, he said he made a promise of state infrastructure fund that he was going to support states to improve their infrastructure. I asked on several occasions, how much are you giving each state? Is it a prorated sum? Is it same amount? How much? Nobody has answered that. We have not heard that any state has been given. He talked about 50 billion, 20 billion for procurement of grains for distribution, and 30 billion as a loan for those who want to loan, so that they can provide palliative foodstuff for their citizens. I don't know how many states have done that and conscientiously. He talked about 70. These are not my word. I'm saying let's be fair to the president. These are his commitment way back on July 31st. His first national broadcast after inauguration. He said he is going to support businesses with single-digit interest loan. 75 businesses will be given 1 billion naira each. How many have they given? Almost 7 months after that commitment. He said he's going to give 50 million to another category, it's nano, small, medium enterprises. So 75 businesses to get 1 billion naira at 9% or single digit, and repayment period over 3 years. How many? Can we have that detail? He said he's going to give 50 million to medium enterprises, about how many thousand? Can we have the numbers? So, who have benefited? These are his own commitment.
So would you say, before we go on the break, would you say that with this information he has provided, and I don't know if Somi agrees with me on this, he is he's misleading himself, the people, and peradventure, we the people are also not listening properly to interpret the timeline of some of the things he said he would do. Is that possible?
No. This is it. I have not landed. These are his commitments, He now said there will be CNG conversion centers, 5,000 of them.
Oh, yes, okay.
Where you and I can take our generator, can take our vehicles, from PMS, we can convert it to CNG.
Yes.
How many are operational? 7 months after. Can we have the numbers?
Okay,
wait.
Okay.
I'm still coming. We borrowed $800 million. Sorry, my sister.
Okay,
we borrowed $800 million from World Bank under Buhari. The release was done under Tinubu, and they said they will pay 50 million household, 25,000 naira for 3 months, October, November, December. That is part of what got Better doing into trouble. But did you read the Punch newspaper report on Sunday that EFCC have recovered 30 out of 37.1 billion traced to Sadia Umar Farouk and George James Okwete or whatever. And that from Better Do, they've been able to recover about 500 million. Now, this is the money that is meant for the poor who are now protesting. The 25,000 naira that won't save them, that won't take them anywhere. A family, you are giving a household 25,000, and they are counting household as father, mother, and 4 children. 6 people, they are multiplying that it will come to the total number of millions. But even at that, money meant for them, somebody carry 44 billion waka within 4 days.
Let's
somebody
work out the
carry
break.
37 billion waka 4 days.
Let's go to break.
When we come back from break, I want you to answer. You've given these commitments that you made, but the question is, did he put a timeline that Nigerians can?
He put some timelines.
Okay, we'll talk timelines after the break.
Stay with us right here on Nigeria Info.
This is Hard Facts.
New shows, new host.
Nothing breaks the news like the news. Trust me, I can prove it. I do it every morning on Morning Crossfire from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Nigeria Info 95.1, and I'm Femi D. Amede. Join the biggest conversation around the national politics every day in a way that is trustworthy, full of passion, and yes, covers the biggest politics and the stories that matter to you. See, you have all the reasons to find out what's going on in Nigeria and be engaged differently. Let's talk. That's the way to go, even this morning.
Hello, my name is Kimberly Nwachukwu. I'm the host of Hard Facts, and I bring you the biggest stories driving conversation every weekday here on 95.1 Nigeria Info Hard Facts Show. I love to get your opinion and conjectures, but the facts you cannot dispute here on Hard Facts. Join me and let's talk.
Audio Jungle.
This is Nigeria Info.
Oh, welcome back to the show this very lovely day. Okay, we're seeing your messages. We will get your calls in. Mr. Jide Ojo is with us this very lovely afternoon as we wade through the news, every side of it that we can find. Femi and Somi, good afternoon. A bag of cement now is 7,500 to 8,000 naira in Suleja, Niger State. Adams from Kaduna Road did write that in. Good afternoon. We are in bigger problem. Cement is now going for 7,000 naira per bag. Foodstuff is on the high side now. Noodles is 11,150 naira. That you says Indomie precisely. Omar King 007 from Arab Group in Kubwa did write that in. Good afternoon, Femi and Somi. Greet your guests. Please let Mr. President know that the poor are not breathing. We have been chalk. And for the episode secretary, if you think that it is the opposition parties which are meet in the streets, in the street protests, oh yeah, here we come. Yeah, head boy from Massacre writes that in this very day. Good afternoon, Somi and Femi and the guests. The guests said it all. That's according to Afsat. Hi, Mary. Osimhen has been cleared by the doctors. Is currently on his way to join the teammates. Fortune from Festac Town also writes that in. Okay, it's good news. I heard he has stomach upset yesterday.
Let's bring the couple.
Abi,
We can use it to drink water and carry.
we need good news right now.
Even like yesterday.
Okay, before the break, Somi was just getting on to a question around timelines or no timelines, right?
Yes. So the commitments the president made yesterday, we're debating on how much longer can Nigerians wait to see, because a lot of the government officials and representatives have come out to say, look, be patient, he just started, it's barely a year in and all of that. And they were saying, okay, how much time how much time can Nigerians give the president before? And it's like, if they know that there is a time frame, then maybe it makes it easier to live through each day, despite the difficulties that keep arising each day. So based on the statements you were giving, Sani's commitments, which ones did he give timelines to? Maybe that can
many of them he said 6 months. He said between August and March 2024. We are seeing March now. Abi, not be March with the Louvre.
That's so Yoruba.
Not be March with the Louvre. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, Somi. That's what I'm saying. For the 3,000 CNG buses, we should have had the first batch. You don't have to bring the 3,000 at the same time. Even if you are going to hand it over or whatever, we should have an update from Minister of Information and National Orientation. We should have update from Minister of Transportation. Oh, this is how many buses that have come in. This one we are flagging up. Now let me go to the issue of wage award. Have you had any of the federal workers? They have only received 2 months of wage award. 35,000. In fact, when they inaugurated this 37 minimum wage award last week, they know that the next minimum wage falls due by 1st of April. And they should have inaugurated that committee 6 months to the time. But they chose to wait till, end of January to inaugurate, knowing full well that this is going to be contentious. You heard the labor union saying that 100,000 is not even realizable for them. They are looking at 200,000 minimum wage. Who will pay them? Who is going to pay? If you have a wage award 35,000 that you are not paying. If you are not paying the 35,000, or you are gasping for bread to pay the 35,000, is it when you now say you want to now have 200,000 minimum wage? I'm not saying the federal government cannot pay, but can the states pay? Can the private sector pay? Because that is part of the challenge we have. 30,000 minimum wage, which has been on since 2019. How many of them have paid? And so it begs the question when you say there are no timelines. Yoruba will say, if we have 3 years of planning to be mad, how long? How long will you want to demonstrate your madness? You understand? So we have taken too long. And you see, I started on the note of Arab Spring. I started on the note of NSAS. We can avert it. The NSAS met me in Enugu. I knew what I suffered. I never knew I would make it back to Abuja alive with the kind of thing I saw in the southeast. There were no flights. To travel by road was a problem. The hotel where I lodged, they were at the gate. And we were like, God, just help your children. We have to stay in the dark. So that they would, because the fear was, what if they came to, they moved into the hotel in order to vandalize? We could have, our lives would be at risk. Prevention, they say, is cheaper and better than cure. We should prevent. This is not the time to grandstand. This is not the time to play the ostrich. Those media handlers should be very careful so that people don't start with them.
It is a very, very tough situation that we find ourselves. I just hope for some reason that people are not living off, a little bit of what they felt in Buhari era, where it looks like what's going on outside is different from what's going on inside, or what's being fed to the president and how he is even feeding off information. But we've been talking about insecurity also in part in the FCT. The FCT minister says it's all over it. Security is this, security is that. But there's some news development from the police now where they are looking for their own men. Yeah, in Anambra State, they're looking for an inspector for a murder case. And there's also some set of officers that are being looked for abduction and emptying somebody's account that they kidnapped. Somi has the details on this.
Right. So in the Federal Capital Territory, some police officers have been arrested. These ones are actually not in the wind. They've been arrested for forcefully collecting 29.9 million naira from a resident. This was reported by Harrison Gwamnishu, a candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 general elections. He said this happened as far back as January. He has videos on his X account showing that the businessman was kidnapped in Abuja by the police officers who detained him until he transferred all the money in his account to them, and thereafter insisted that he should call his relatives to continue sending them money. And Mr. Gwamnishu, who made this report, also has receipts. He posted the receipts alongside showing the transfers of all of this money alongside with the video. Now, the first spokesperson, and this is where
it gets chilly.
Yes. Olumuyiwa Adejobi, while confirming the arrest of the culprits, said that the force has made progressive steps towards ensuring justice was served in the case. This, to me, is heartbreaking. You see something as grievous as this. You have the culprits in custody.
Read the next quoting.
I will get there. And you say you have taken progressive steps. Okay, he goes ahead to say they are making headway on the matter and justice will be served as some suspects have been arrested. Then
Hakuna
ends it
Matata.
With Hakuna Matata.
Which means don't worry.
You could have said don't worry. The Hakuna Matata to me just denotes some sense of lightheartedness on the matter.
Exactly, that is nothing. It's nothing special. See. Whether you are a kidnapper, you are a robber, you are a woman being, primarily first and foremost, and this kind of thing is not new in the Nigerian police and security agencies, and that's the biggest fear of allowing people. When people say, "Oh, let everybody carry weapons. Let's all have our own for self-defense." When there is nothing to defend, you can also misuse. America is suffering from legalizing
firearms.
Yep.
That they have lost more people than even what they lost to external aggression. In 2023, I think America recorded over 1,000 mass shootings. Now, they say police is your friend. With a friend like this ones, you don't need an enemy. That's just the truth. Because it breaks hearts. People you rely on for your protection are the one exploiting you. And this is what precipitated NSAS
In
2020. Remember,
police brutality.
Police brutality, profiling people, wearing dreads, wearing earrings. Then, you are Yahoo. Let me have your phone. What are you? Let me see. You small boy, where did you get 20 million? Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They framed them. That was what led to NSAS. And it started in Delta. NSAS started in Delta before spreading to Lagos and other parts. And the mindless destruction of property that we had in 2020, we cannot afford a reoccurrence. So I'm pleading with police authority and security agencies, please let them weed out the bad eggs amongst them before they cause more havoc. I know there are diligent, there are responsible police officers in the majority who risk their lives to save us. But for this kind of bad eggs, it should be expeditiously dealt with. Not that you say, because there are already clear-cut evidences. Unless you are doing esprit de corps, You know, that's another angle to the whole thing.
Well,
It's
that's-
one of us.
we are together.
We are together. And this is not the kind of thing you do as really the cover. This is the kind of thing that you make a sacrificial lamb. You know this is wrong. You have done it. This should be. You know, there are sometimes we say due process. Yes, some cases are complicated. Maybe you need to dig deeper and all of that. But for me, this person, with all the evidences, should have been first dismissed, and the cases should have been filed in court by now. Let the person, and if there are accomplices, they should all go in together. Because unless there are consequences for bad behavior, you will encourage culture of impunity.
That's the thing.
I'm curious though. Okay, just finish up because I'm almost turning the conversation.
I was going to say, especially on the issue of expediting these cases, about 2 weeks ago while we were on air, I'm not sure which show I was on because my guy has been tossing me around and all. But I'm not sure which show I was on. But we had at least 2 or 3 people who sent in messages and called in saying, look, this has been my experience. Someone said his son was, accosted by the police on the spot. They didn't even take this one to the police station. On the spot, harassed him, collected his devices, withdrew money from his account. So it's the way we're talking about the Arab Spring and all of that. You're having these cases more and more often. They are popping up more than necessary within the security forces who we look to protect for protection. So I'm not sure just how seriously
serious this is. Now,
Yes.
I'm going to use the words of Salassi, and I do hope I quote him correctly when I say today's victim, today's survivor could be tomorrow's victim.
Yeah, sure.
And why one talks about those crimes within city and in those urban areas that are even documented in the news, there's also the likes of insecurity. My question has always been, so we have an NSA who's quite popular, a National Security Advisor. People say he's not saying enough or not saying anything at all. You have the army chiefs that people are wondering, so what's going on? It looks like you're headlong with people in Plateau State who are saying, you're allowing our enemies to crush us, but you're saying, thou shalt not revenge. It's our responsibility to carry on activities to secure you, but the people there feel otherwise. And then you have many other areas which insecurity, one could almost say, is rising beyond the way it was under Buhari administration, because you're having more and more cold-hearted cases of kidnapping and all kinds of run-over going on day by day. Do you think the response of the Nigerian government, especially security-wise, is being adequate or just not detailed enough?
You know the answer. It's not adequate, it's not detailed. And this is, I was on Trust TV on Sunday night, and the issue we discussed was the issue of state police to be or not to be. And I took a position that, like yesterday, we should have had state police by now. I know there is a pushback from the Nigerian police force. They don't want competition. They want.
Is that all there is to it? The competition?
It's about competition for resources. They know a state like Lagos is like funding police by 60-70%. You understand?
The cutback of the funds.
So if Lagos state government has its own police force, why should it be funding federal police? So I was glad when I read the Punch editorial of, I think, Friday or Saturday, where he said, if you want to curb insecurity, the time to have state police is now. Whatever fears, did you know that we are still having less than 400,000 policemen to a population of 220 million? How disproportionate that is. Can you just imagine how we expected these people to secure our lives? The Inspector General of Police has said it countless times before the National Assembly that you are just like expecting the Nigerian police to do a miracle. We are not miracle workers. We are not magicians. In the whole of Gwagwalada, I don't know whether I heard right, when the kidnapping epidemic got to a point and we had to organize town hall meetings with each of the area councils, I think somebody stood up to tell him that in Gwagwalada area council, the divisional police, there has only one operational vehicle. I hope I heard right. How then do you chase after criminals? You are under siege, you are under attack. So you call 911, 122, whatever number, and say, yes, this police control room, I'm under siege. And they say, oh, can you send a vehicle to pick us? Or you take Uber? You understand? Grossly underfunded? Are we even using technology enough?
So what do you make of that technology, especially this SIM card
CCTV,
connected? No, even the SIM card connected to accounts that are being used to abduct people and get money of it. The former Minister of Communications, Professor Patami, has come back to say, I tried, I pushed everybody to register, now no green register. And now, okay, that's common, right? We didn't say it like that. But now, it's coming back to bite everybody again. This issue of register your SIM, don't register your SIM situation.
I think the boss has moved past that. Whatever the criminals are using, they are using telephone. And there are sophisticated gadgets that can track. Even if the number is unregistered, even if you hide the number, there are gadgets that can do it. Do you know that even your Android phone, when you switch it off, can still be monitored, can still be tracked? You have switched it off. There are gadgets that can do it. Sophisticated gadgets.
Please don't teach women how to do that part.
No. I mean, I'm just saying the level that the technology has gotten to. When American killed the second in command to Osama bin Laden in Afghanistan, they studied him. They knew he comes out every evening to take fresh air in the balcony. They didn't shoot him. They just sent an unmanned drone. It was a drone that killed him. Precise. If the target, the man is gone. See the American attack on Hutu rebels that are in the Gulf of in Jordan and all of that. Is it bazooka and grenade they are using? It's drones. The world has since moved on. And the question is, we have Deacon in Kaduna that is supposed to produce small arms and light weapons. How fair? How is Deacon?
But about last year, they had a showcasing of some of the things they've done. I think it was last year.
Samples.
Yeah, samples of things they wanted to scale up on.
Is this samples that we... Do you know how many research institutes we have that they have model, samples, patents that is there gathering dust all over?
That's sad.
That's the sad news. We have so many research institutes. They come out with breakthrough, they patent it, but no funding. Many research institutes in Nigeria, please quote me on this, many research institutes in Nigeria, they're just earning salary. Because when they do their research and they break through and all of that, government give us money, let's mass produce. They say there is no money, no budget. Or you even have budgetary allocation, no release. Because for you to get money release, you have to know somebody within the system that will help you to facilitate. And you may actually need to do some things for that to manifest. So the system can be frustrating, even for the patriotic ones amongst them who want to work. Because you can't use your own personal funds to do these things. Okay, we are kicking, the Nigerian police is kicking against state police and all of that. How many barracks have been built in the last 10 years? How many police stations have been built in the last 10 years? We have had to rely on private citizens like Dangote and the rest of them to come and buy us operational vehicle. And they buy this, what they buy them is just like taxis, that it's not a treated vehicle, it's not armor personnel carrier, it's not something that the bandits cannot deflate. So, we are in serious challenge. We are seriously challenged, but it's not a hopeless situation, provided the leadership. And leadership here does not mean President Tinubu doing it, because the president have to trust people, have to delegate, and he has delegated. You have 48 ministers. Did you know that the entire 48 ministers are presidential aides? They are lieutenants. They are lieutenants to the president. So if you are a lieutenant of the president and you say, oversee this department, oversee this agency, oversee this ministry, that's why I'm so disappointed with what happened with Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs. Because this is money meant for the poor. Then the next thing you start hearing somebody move 44 billion within 4 days, somebody else move, they are saying they are investigating another, the suspended minister for about 16 billion new fund money. For how long? So somebody is barely 1 year, is helping himself to so many. So unless we deal with this issue of personal aggrandizement, and that's part of the challenge. Because look, as I was coming here, Lance, former chief of air staff, has been discharged from
the court
21
case
billion fraud case against him over mismanagement of. So. To God be the glory. Great things he has done. What do you say now?
But doesn't it still fall? I mean, we need to take some calls and more responses at this time. But just very quick before we do that, Ms. Ojo, you said we shouldn't leave it to the president. He has ministers, he's delegated. They're his lieutenants and all of that. Doesn't it still fall back to him to call them to account when it seems like nothing is happening? This is 8 months in, and we have the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Economy coming out to say, okay, yes, the situation is worrying to the federal government. I mean, the most that he said, speaking alongside Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, was that President has intervened in the sector to provide things like grain, fertilizers to farmers to bring additional acreage for all those grains that you talked about, so that it can increase input and bring down prices. He said the president has intervened. I'm just like, you asked a very valid question, where are these interventions? So at the end of the day, the ministers are saying this, they are coming out, they're making statements, some would turn political, some maybe not so much. And then the president is, also there saying, okay, Nigerians, just be patient. At the end of the day, I don't know if it's a case of passing the ball, but you can't seem to hold anyone to say, look, get this thing going. I
think the report card of the cabinet will be ready for the president's attention when he comes back from France. Adiza Bala Usman is the principal, headmistress. That is going. That's the chief monitoring officer. So she already had a matrix to assess. But you see, be fair to some of these ministers. I just told you something. We have a 28 trillion budget. And I'm being very realistic here. 28 trillion budget for 2024. Now, we are using 98 or over 90% of our revenue to service our debt. It then means that whatever we spend on capital and all of that are borrowed funds. So when you want to borrow, you want to borrow 10 trillion. You possibly was able to get 1 trillion first. There are over 1,000 ministries, departments, and agencies. So it becomes a very hot lobby, if you get my drift.
Yes,
because
I do.
There is no sufficient fund. I think what the Accountant General said was that the government revenue is shaky. That's why they couldn't pay the wage award as at when due.
In fact, what you just said now reminds me of the CBN governor talking about invalid and valid payments. That one is that kind of fish. Let's take some calls even now, so that by the time we're rounding off at 4:30, we're able to have taken your views in. Oh, there. Welcome.
Good afternoon.
Hello?
Yes, good afternoon. We can hear you.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Femi. I'm calling from Wagwalada.
Good. Welcome.
Just to acknowledge what your guest has said, I'm not speaking on behalf of police, but somehow I'm very close to them, and I know very well, even the operational vehicles they have is not all that sound. Now, going on the issue at hand, the job of keeping Nigeria moving should not be left to the president alone. I am of the opinion that the security agents will be checkmating the executives, and the executives will be checkmating them, because, see, not too long ago, we listened to former CBN governor, which is my Governor, Professor Soludo. He said that the way the CBN has been printing money lawlessly must have put us into this condition, which I quite agree with him. I'm not an economist, but I saw all these things as a way of running this country down, as if they are not even Nigerians, as if they don't have the progress of Nigeria in mind. So please, let's all of us, check ourselves, check me, I will check you. Things will be moving normal. Don't take my own, I'm not ready to take your own.
Thank you. Good afternoon. All right, Womoko.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Femi, Somi, and the guests in the studio.
Welcome.
Sorry, I want to remain anonymous.
All right then.
I live in Abuja. There is something going on. Informants are everywhere in this area, and people have seen them. People have been communicating with them, but they are afraid of to go and tell police, because if they go and tell police, those people later, other people will come after them. So this whole thing just got me. According to how your guest in the studio is talking of security, this thing, I say let me call so that I will let people know if there is any way that either they will involve this thing. They will call soldiers or DSS to take over this issue, because those informants are everywhere in Guagua, because I have.
Let me ask, when you do say informant, is it informant for the kidnappers and the likes of that, or informant for our security operatives? Just to be clear.
Yeah, the informant of kidnappers and bandits.
Okay.
Yes, informant of kidnappers and bandits. So people are afraid to go and take police. Because if you go and take police will later leak the whole thing up, put a finger at you, and you don't turn to an enemy. Later on, if those people have been released, they will come after you. So please, I don't know whether it will be DSS or soldiers to take call the soldiers' attention and the DSS to take over this thing, because there was a day around 4 a.m. in the night that I had a gunshot 2 times. I text the police this emergency line that there is problem around our street in the very Guagua. There was no response. Around that kind the next day, around that kind 5 in the evening, something that happened in the night that I can't see police very good patrol, and the patrol what they did was just that they come at home, go back to where you were coming from. So the whole thing just got me scared.
Thinking, all right. My brother, thank you. Thank you so much.
That's why I should not call my name. Thank you.
I understand you very well.
Hello, good afternoon, Femi.
Good afternoon.
Somi, how are you?
Fine,
and
thank
good afternoon to our guests. You are welcome, sir. My name is Salasi. Let me start with the hunger. I remember for the past regime, when things were getting bad, they asked Nigeria to come out. Even that inside protest, it couldn't happen in the north. They say it's against their religion. Now you can see hunger is uniting the masses. The masses are being united by hunger. Look at what happened in Niger yesterday, and look at what happened in Kano the other day. So these are the things until government tackle all these things. And this government, President said we shouldn't pity him, but me, I pity him. Because the former administration came into power, they borrowed huge amount of money, and it was looted by some of his ministers. At the extent of Megaskia, look at humanitarian minister. Look at the amount. Look at now the former minister of the aviation. Allegedly, they said one of his brother, how much they discovered in his account. So they borrow and the money was looted. Then come to the issue of insecurity. Look at how they are battling with insecurity. In Plateau, in other places, people traveling from the southeast coming back to Abuja here. This vehicle, they stop and kidnap the people. Still up to now, they don't know where they are. So now to even travel on the road is another thing. You have to be praying and fasting. So we want the government to do the needful. I will conclude by victims, yesterday survivor. Tomorrow victims are today survivor. It could be anybody out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Selassie.
All right, well, that's Selassie's view to this. But as we go on the break, there's
This is Nigeria.
we would like to ask you about after the break. This idea of government money ending up in individual accounts. No, I think there's a report by Premium Times. They do credit govern spend. They publish the accounts that has benefited from various ministries, from Ministry of Women Affairs, Ministry of Information and Culture. This idea of money moving from MDAs into individual accounts. How does it work? How is this supposed to work? That's something we're going to get to ask you after the break. Stay with us. The person taking on the 4 o'clock news is standing by. And then when we do come back after the break, we'll take more views, more calls. We'll see your messages on Facebook, by the way. Let's read 2 or 3 now.
All right.
I think I'm sneaking 2 or 3.
Yes, Muazi John Lasisi sent in his message. In contrast to what a lot of people are saying regarding the matter of protest, he says, good afternoon, Femi and Somi. The protest is good for democracy, but he says he does not understand why now. He says we went through tougher times during the last administration, but we endured. Are we tired now, or is it because it is bat on the driver's seat? That comes from Muazi John Lasisi. Thank you so much for your message. We have quite a number of people greeting us here in the studio. We greet you right back. Thank you. Obi Ibata says Tinubu is emotion without movement. He says old age is a clinical condition. Nigeria is too complex for an 80-something-year-old man. He doesn't know what is happening here. Hunger, insecurity are on the prowl, unmitigated.
Stay with us before somebody says something else again. We'll just be back after now.
Welcome back to Hard Facts.
This is Hard Facts. This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.